All right, guys, we got the Genesis pulled into the garage here. Everyone's been telling me if you want to drift one of these things, especially the 3/8, you got to put a baffled pan in it. Everyone in the Genesis forums was like, yeah, 100% get a baffled pan. The forums for these cars are just littered with blown up 3/8s. That's what I'm gonna do today, just to keep it safe and fingers crossed it doesn't rod knock. But yeah, I'll show you what we got. Here is the ATQ baffled oil pan. This is for the 3/8 BK2s, which as I understand, the 3/8s, none of the 3/8s came with a baffled oil pan. This little windage tray, I guess. Technically, it doesn't actually have baffles. Where are we? But it is far better than the stock one, I gather, which I haven't pulled out yet, but we'll compare it once I pull it out. Shout out to ATQ for making good parts for the Genesis. They seem to have a lot of good products. We'll say it took a good few months, so if you're gonna order ahead of time before you need it. So the quick and dirty, what you'll need is, I got myself a little 27 to pull off the filter. You'll need a 17 for the bung. It looks like just 10 mil. Some other things that you will need, a carbide scraper. That will help a lot. What also came in the packet was some good gasket maker. Make sure you use like either Permatex Right Stuff or Honda Bond. Make sure it does say oil resistant. Comes with nice new hardware. So let's have at her. Kind of the hard part is honestly just getting the pans separated. And what you want to do is basically get a flathead screwdriver, get a really thin one, and just start working your way into it. One thing you don't want to do with these pans, I noticed this on like the Corolla pan, you don't want to pry down to see if you can just work your way into the pan. There shouldn't be anything there to hit besides your oil pickup. It should be farther in. Based on this, it should be farther down. So as long as you can just get this in, try not to basically push in and pull down. Try not to do that because this lip here will bend quite easily, I think, with a lot of the stamped pans. But this is kind of the way it's always worked for me. Just kind of tap it in as nice as you can and kind of just work around. Try not to pull down, and then it'll just slowly separate. So you can get the bigger flathead in, and then just shove the other one in. Not to bend the pan or else it's gonna be a pain in the ass later if you ever want to use it. But obviously not really worried about using this one. So if I really wanted to, I could reef on it. So the fun part, I've kind of worked this side off, feel its way out. And there she goes. That's it there. That side I kind of bent a little bit more than I wanted to. I was just reefing on it. The key really is to try and get flathead past this part so you're not just peeling this lip down, especially if you want to reuse the pan. As you can see, stock oil pan, no baffle, nothing fancy, pretty small. And then ATQ, baffled oil pan. At least give the oil a spot to sit before it drains back in. Help out with that sloshing side to side, especially in drift or track use. So yeah, we gotta clean the underside of the pan with the carbide scraper. You gotta try and get everything off. You gotta make sure you get all the oil off it so that the gasket has something to stick to. Work my way and get all this off.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa!
That's too damn bad!
And as you can see, it's fairly clean. Carbide scraper does a good job. Now just wipe it all down with some brake cleaner. Let it dry a little bit. Biggest problem always with these pans is like you see in the corner there, it's like just sort of dripping down. So what you obviously don't want to happen is as you are putting the silicone on it, you don't want that to obviously drip in. So you gotta make sure to really wipe it down before you actually go to put it on. Wipe it down as best you can, just so it doesn't contaminate the gasket maker. That's the underneath of a Genesis. Now for the bead process, this is the 90-minute one, so you don't have a lot of time for it to set up. But what I like to do is I actually like to bead this surface, and then I'm gonna go underneath and bead the bottom of the pan. That's what works for me. You're wondering why I'm not using the Milwaukee. Just because I'd rather just hand bomb these in. Pan's all in. So I've just hand tightened it for now. On the back of the right stuff, it says 60 minutes till you torque it down. That's obviously just to give it some air so it can set up. So I just hand bombed it right now and I'm gonna leave it for a little bit, come back, torque it down an hour, 2 hours, torque it down, and then, I mean, it says you can pretty much fill this in 30 minutes after. I am gonna probably wait a good bit. I'm gonna let it get some air and set up as much as it can. I will probably fill it tomorrow. Probably just gonna leave it exactly like that so it can set up. And then, yeah, and then I have to kind of figure out how to get this thing to crank and not actually fire so it can build oil pressure. I'm assuming I can just pull the fuel pump fuse out. I'm gonna figure that out. I'm gonna take a look on my Genesis forum. I'm sure if I type in crank, don't fire, it's just gonna be a bunch of stuff of people trying to get the car to start.
The next day.
All right, guys, it's the next day here. Now to just fill it up, crank it, hope it builds some oil pressure, and we're good to go. No, you do not have to wait 24 hours or to the next day, but I wasn't using the car, so I just let it sit to dry. Fingers crossed doesn't leak. I do not want to do this a second time, but yeah, filling it up with good old Pennzoil 5W40 Euro, as it's just kind of like more of a tea time drifter. I go for 5W40. I think recommended is 530, but just a little bit heavier weight for higher heat. And yeah, she takes 5.3 is what the forums say, or I shouldn't be reading forum. What the manual says takes 5.1, 5.3. So we will top her up. All right, now to start this thing. But that's that. Oil pan on. And yeah, hopefully that prevents a little bit of the common rod knock for the good old 3.8. All right, guys, that'll do it for today's video. There will be more Gen Coupe content, so stick around. We're gonna be doing a differential on this and installing a hydraulic handbrake. So eventually we'll take it to the track, get some reviews in it. I know Steve's gonna drive it, so we're gonna have some fun. Let us know if there's anything you think we should add to make this more reliable and just stuff that overall will make it a better drift car. But that'll do it for now. Thanks for sticking with us. Take it easy.